Part 85. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 841. Xianxia frowned, his heart sank, and he immediately ordered someone to report to the elders. He first led the demon guards to the place where the power occurred. So when Chuhi's brothers hurried to the demon palace, Xianxia had already rushed to Chuhi's house. He quickly turned around and rushed to Chuhi's house. The ban on flying in the demon city is aimed at other people, with the exception of one person, and that is the demon king. After all, the entire demon world belongs to the demon king. Hence, Xianxia only reached the place where he sensed the power in an instant. Only after he arrived did he realize that this was the Kahi family. When Chuhi saw Xianxia arriving, he immediately saluted and said, "Your Majesty, what kind of power is this? Why is it so strong? Why is the sound so terrifying?" Xianxia's heart sank and he glanced at Chuhi. "Whose yard is this? What happened?" Chuhi was stunned for a moment, not daring to hide anything, and told the truth about what happened. Xianxia rolled his eyes at Chuhi. He has a good talent and a good way of doing things. Why can't he handle housework well? Chuhi knew that he was really in trouble this time. The last time his wife and Xianxia came before the king had already warned him. Now that such a big thing has happened, he knows that even for the sake of loyalty, the king may not be able to serve as the captain of the guard. Devil energy. Before Xianxia said what this power was, the elders from the demon world who rushed over shouted in unison. The people present, except for the servants of Kahi's family, were the demon guards. Everyone was stunned. Demonic energy? That's not right, they are all demon cultivators. Why don't they know what demonic energy is like? Why is it different from what they practice? Xianxia explained in a heavy tone, demon energy is not equal to magic power. There is demonic energy in this courtyard, which is the real power of the devil. Xianxia's words shocked everyone's hearts. They all knew that although they were demon cultivators, they did not necessarily become demons. What demons practice is demonic energy. What they inhale as demonic cultivators is spiritual energy, which forms magic power in their bodies. This is actually a method of orthodox cultivation, but it is just discriminated against by spiritual practitioners. This demon is not that demon. Hence, they know very well what the presence of demonic energy here means. Your Majesty, we must quickly control this power, otherwise not only our demon world but also the entire Xuanhuan continent will suffer a devastating disaster, the elders said to Xianxia. Xianxia shook his head. "We can't control it. Have you forgotten the warning in the ancestral precepts?" After hearing what Xianxia said, the elders' eyes froze and their hearts sank. Only the elders and demon kings know the ancestral teachings of the demon world. Although Xianxia did not say it out loud, they know that the prophecy of the ancestors of the Ge family has now appeared. That was after the Ge family became the king of the demon world. After the arrival of Xuanhuan, the first demon king spent his whole life practicing to predict the future of the demon world and established the ancestral precepts of the Ge family, which all demon kings and elders of all generations must follow. One of them is that when demons appear, the world will be in chaos. When saints appear, the world will be peaceful. This article says that one day in the future, a real demon will appear in the demon world. Once this demon appears, it means that the world will be in chaos. Only the emergence of a saint can bring peace to the world. What to do now? Asked the elders. Xianxia looked at the courtyard blocked by the demonic energy and said, "Wait. Even he does not have the strength to fight with the demonic energy now. He can only wait and wait for the demonic energy here to dissipate to see what is going on and who is the demon." "Is there anyone else in the yard?" Xianxia asked Chuhi. Chuhi shook his head. "Only my wife and Xianxia." He knew without asking that no one else was left in the yard when his wife was giving Xianxia a hard time every day. Xianxia glanced at Chuhi, then you have to be prepared. One of you should die now, and the one who is alive is still a demon. Chuhi's heart sank. After knowing that the powerful force in the yard was demonic energy, he knew in his heart that neither his wife nor Xianxia would be fine. But there is still a trace of luck in his heart. His wife is very strong and can at least save her life. Now that the king said this, his little luck was completely shattered. His body shivered uncontrollably and he slowly squatted down, feeling extremely painful. What he is most worried about is his wife, but whether his wife is dead or alive now, the outcome is not good. Died, he was killed by the woman Xianxia he brought back, but alive, it proves that she is a demon. But the painful sounds inside were hard to hear. They were not those of his wife or Xianxia, and it was impossible to tell which of them was the one who became a demon. Tianjun said nothing more. The elders looked at each other and discussed in low voices before the eldest elder walked up to Tianjun. Your Majesty, it's dangerous here, let's guard it. Tianjun raised his hand and said, it's useless for you to stay here. Since the devil appears, it must have a purpose. Only I can make the decision. The great elder said nothing after hearing this. Their king was not a person who was greedy for life and afraid of death. He would not retreat to the rear for safety at this time. Everyone waited in silence. In the yard, Xianxia kept rolling on the ground, and the clothes on her body could no longer be seen. After such a long time, the pain did not lessen, but got worse. Several times she felt as if she almost died. Just when she was about to lose it, the pain suddenly disappeared, as if it had disappeared all of a sudden. If she hadn't been tortured so much that it would be difficult to stand up, it would be as if the pain never existed. After a while, Xianxia slowly got up from the ground, glanced at Chuhi's wife, who was still lying under the wall, staring at her, and raised the corners of her lips mockingly. God couldn't bear to see the insult he suffered and punished this vicious woman. She swayed for a moment, and her consciousness suddenly brightened. Her head hurt again. She quickly covered her head. Fortunately, the level of headache this time was within the acceptable range for her, at least she didn't roll around in pain. Then she was stunned, and many memories that she had never had appeared in her consciousness. After all the memories were transferred, she knew what happened today. How so? Xianxia screamed in her heart, why is it her? After the painful sounds in the yard stopped, Tianjun raised his hand towards the demon guard, who immediately got ready to fight. Unable to accept the reality, Chuhi also stood up and looked at the courtyard door with red eyes. He hoped in his heart that what came out was his wife. Even if she became a demon, it would be better than being killed by the woman he brought back. It took Xianxia a while to accept the reality that she was actually a demon. After her state of mind stabilized, a powerful force suddenly rushed into her dantian, making her unable to stand still. She knew that this was the power of the devil. She has no right to refuse now, so she quickly sits down and absorbs the evil energy. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 842. About the time it took to burn the incense, Xianxia opened her eyes and stood up from the ground. In an instant, her original white skirt turned into black. She also wore a black cloak on her shoulders and a black bone in her bun. The hairpin made is 1 foot long. The area around the eyes is dark, and the lips are dark. She stretched out her hands. The nails on her slender fingers were now black, pointed, and long. Even she knew by looking at them that these were not good hands. Xianxia looked up to the sky and smiled. Her voice was hoarse that she was not familiar with, it was unpleasant and cold. Smiling, Xianxia shed tears. She raised her hand to wipe away the tears and raised her head stubbornly. Even if she became a demon, at least she would have the capital to fight them. He stretched out his arms, absorbed the evil energy blocked in the yard, and walked towards the gate of the yard. Since she became a demon, she had to do what a demon should do. She was not in a hurry to seek revenge. The most important thing was to get the demon's power first. Everyone outside felt that the obstructive force had disappeared. Chuhi was about to run towards the courtyard gate, but Tianjun raised his hand and stopped him with strength. At this moment, the courtyard door opened. Although Qin Suiyu had changed a lot, Chuhi still recognized her at a glance. He asked with a trembling voice, "Where is she?" Qin Suiyu knew who Chuhi was asking about. Looking at this man who was always aloof in front of her, she was actually afraid of being lost one day. Dead Qin Suiyu's hoarse voice came coldly. "Did you kill him?" Chuhi asked with a trembling voice. Qin Suiyu said coldly, "You should know that I can't resist her. She wanted to kill me. It happened that my power awakened and I fought back. She was killed by her own power. Looking at the fact that this man has helped him before, let him understand. Although there is no slave mark on her body now." Chuhi's body went limp and was supported by the demon guard beside him. Chuhi raised his hand and pushed the demon guard away, then staggered toward the courtyard door. The demon guard wanted to hold him, but Tianjun stopped him. Chuhi walked up to Qin Suiyu and walked past her into the courtyard without even looking at her. Qin Suiyu did not attack Chuhi. Although it was as easy for her to kill Chuhi now as to kill an ant, this man saved her twice when she was about to die, so she should repay his life-saving grace. Chuhi walked into the courtyard and saw his wife with her eyes open under the courtyard wall. He suddenly knelt down. How did they get to this point? He slowly crawled over, then picked up his wife and cried bitterly. Tianjun looked at Qin Suiyu. He really didn't expect that his ancestors' prophecy would be fulfilled by Qin Suiyu. Sure enough, the devil is not a good thing. Whether in the spiritual world or the demon world, Qin Suiyu has never done any good things. However, Tianjun was surprised that she did not kill Chuhi. Qin Suiyu looked at Tianjun. This man who was beyond her reach before suddenly became equal to him. This is all thanks to myself being the reincarnation of a real demon. Such as Qin Suiyu was angry about why she was a demon before, now she is very happy that she is a demon. So what if you are a demon? This world has always respected the strong. As long as you become the strongest, it doesn't matter whether you are a demon or not. Look, Tianjun doesn't dare to do anything to himself easily. However, she also knows that although Tianjun can't do anything to her now, she can't do anything to Tianjun. Fortunately, her current goal is not Tianjun. When she gets back all the demonic power, Tianjun will no longer be an ant under her feet. Haha, Tianjun, I never thought that you and I would have such a day. Qin Suiyu was a little carried away. Although Qin Suiyu didn't know how ugly she looked now, she knew when she heard her own voice that her voice had become so ugly, her hands were so scary, and how good her face could be. There was a moment of sadness in her heart. She had been very confident in her beauty since she was a child. Only when she met Yang Xianglao did she realize that she was not the most beautiful in the world. Now she has nothing to do with beauty. That's fine, so you can focus on improving your strength, right? I didn't expect it. Tianjun's tone was calm. I thought to myself, disgusting people are the same no matter where they are. Their nature cannot be hidden or changed. Because that's how she is in her bones and soul. Seeing that Tianjun was so calm, Qin Suiyu felt her anger rise uncontrollably, and said in a mocking and proud tone, "Do you think you can deal with me in such a big show?" Tianjun said in a natural tone, "I can't deal with it, but there's nothing you can do about my demon world." The tone is confident and affirmative, and the contrast between the two people's realms clearly shows their superiority and inferiority. Qin Suiyu choked. Tianjun said the truth, but Tianjun was not afraid of herself, which made Qin Suiyu feel very unhappy. However, Qin Suiyu's experience in the past 3 years has made her instinctively put her own safety and interests first. You are indeed a character, but unfortunately, you will never be my opponent in this life, Xianxia mocked and attacked. It's true, the person who can deal with you is not in my demon world. Tianjun was not angry because of her words, but calmly followed her words. This surprised Xianxia, and also surprised those present in the demon world. Xianxia was surprised that Tianjun seemed to know his origins and said so calmly that his opponent was not in their demon world. Did he really know anything? The people in the demon world were surprised that none of their demon kings could match the demon in front of them, so who was the person the king was talking about? What do you know? Xianxia couldn't help asking, even though her strength was greatly increased due to the demonic energy, but her previous level was not enough, so her determination was naturally not as good as Tianjun's. Tianjun did not answer her words, but made a gesture of invitation. It's time for you to go. Xianxia was shocked. Tianjun really knew something. After she received the power of demonic energy, a voice told her that she had to go to the first training place within half an hour, otherwise she would miss receiving the power of demonic energy. She didn't say anything about this, so how did Tianjun know? She became wary and did not dare to waste any more time. Although neither she nor Tianjun could do anything to the other now, but if Tianjun wanted to hold her back, when the time was up, she would not be able to enter the first training place within half an hour. She would miss out on accepting the power of real demons. She was already like this. The only purpose was strength, and she didn't want to miss it. We will meet again. Xianxia looked at Tianjun and said. Tianjun nodded. Since the demon has appeared, we will definitely see you again. It is the responsibility of all monks to destroy the demon, whether it is demonic cultivation or spiritual cultivation. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 843. Tianjun's unkind words made Xianxia choke again. She snorted, I hope you can be so calm when we meet again. Tianjun didn't want to say anything more to her, so he reminded her, you don't have much time. Xianxia looked deeply at Tianjun, raised her sleeves, and a black energy enveloped her. After the black air disappeared, Xianxia disappeared. At this time, the elders dared to speak, Your Majesty, can't the demon slayer array destroy her? They didn't understand why the king let the demon go without even trying. It was a real demon. Tianjun sighed, the ancestral teachings say that when the devil appears, let it go, and then there will be life. Although I looked at him calmly all the time, I had already struggled a lot in my heart, and finally decided to follow the instructions of my ancestors. After all, he is not the saint who can destroy demons. The ancestral precepts say that as long as they cooperate with that saint to eliminate demons when the time comes. If he insists on confronting the demon now, both sides may suffer, but there is no guarantee that the demon can be completely eliminated. As long as it is not completely eliminated, the devil will soon come back, and by then, the consequences may be even worse. Where did the devil go? The elders then realized that there was indeed such a sentence in the ancestral precepts and asked again. If the devil is in their demon world, it is a hidden danger. Even if they don't confront it now, they will confront it in the future. As the demon king, Tianjun has absolute control over the demon world, especially several special places. She went to the entrance of the first place of training. Tianjun said. Huh? All the elders were confused. There are two entrances to the first place of training, one in the spirit world and one in the demon world. They can only be opened once every 3 years, and only one person can enter at a time. The first training ground was just opened a few days ago. When I entered it, I won the first place in this year's competition in their demon world. What is the devil doing there? Can I still go in? She went in. Tianjun said again. How did you get in? The elders asked in surprise. I don't know what it was, but I felt a force entering the entrance, and her breath disappeared at the entrance, Tianjun said. Everyone was speechless. The demon went into the first place of training. Will he come out again? What if I come out stronger? What Tianjun was thinking about was why the devil wanted to go into the first place of training. After Yan Xianglou rescued him 3 years ago, he came back just in time for the opening of the first training place. He went in that time, and after he came out, he had his current cultivation level. He has been practicing in it for a month, and he didn't find anything wrong inside, nor did he find any demonic energy. However, he also knew very well that demons would not go into the first training place for no reason. Spread the news about the devil's birth, especially in the spirit world. Just tell the truth. Tianjun frowned tightly. He wanted to know, where is the saint who can subdue demons? When will it appear? At this moment, Chu He walked out with his wife's body in his arms. Tianjun looked at Chu He and said nothing. The family affairs were like this, which had a lot to do with Chu He himself. Although Qin Suiyu was a demon, Qin Suiyu had been, he doesn't even know that he is a demon, and Chu He doesn't blame him for not knowing. However, he brought Qin Suiyu back, and he should bear a lot of responsibility for his wife's death. Chu He put his wife down and knelt down. Your Majesty, this subordinate is guilty and has invited himself to go to purgatory to receive punishment. Tianjun was speechless for a while after hearing the words, and Chu He just knelt on the ground without moving. That's right, bury your wife before you go. Tianjun agreed. Thank you, Your Majesty. Chu He kowtowed again. Tianjun rose up in the air and left Kahi's house, and came to the entrance of the first training place. He carefully checked the entrance, but did not find what kind of power Qin Suiyu used to open the entrance, or how she got in. The emergence of real demons in the demon world of the 9 UN continent is happening in various higher continents. In the first training place of the demon world, demons are constantly entering. And the demon cultivators who are practicing inside have not sensed the crisis yet. Yan Xianglou, who was walking to the center, didn't even know that great changes had taken place in various higher continents in this short period of time. At this time, she was looking at the steps full of flowers and was speechless. The steps were full of flesh bugs before, which made her sick. She finally found a way to get rid of the bugs, but now there is another one that is eye-catching. Is this to confuse her? These flowers looked beautiful, but she had never seen them before without exception. They were all highly poisonous. As long as she dared to reach out and pick one, she would definitely be poisoned immediately if she touched the flowers with her hands. As for the method of death, it depends on the kind of poison. In the previous battle with the flesh bugs, she not only exhausted her spiritual power, but also her vitality. Now she had no strength at all, and it was impossible to pass through this large poisonous flower. Let's restore our spiritual power first. However, with so many poisonous flowers around, she did not dare to enter the realm directly to recover her spiritual power. If she was surrounded by poisonous flowers as soon as she opened her eyes, it would be too late to regret. Therefore, she was absorbing spiritual energy and recovering her vitality at the same time, without delaying both times and without entering the realm. The poisonous flower did not spread to where she was, it just stood in front of her, as if provoking her. In this way, a day passed before Yan Xianglou replenished her exhausted spiritual energy and regained her vitality. She found that after the spiritual power was replenished, there was movement in her danshan, as if her cultivation had finally loosened a little bit, and she had made a step forward. Although it was very small, she could feel it. The same goes for his vitality. After all his energy was restored, he was twice as strong as before. She was not happy about it. Anyone who took this path would gain experience and achieve much better results than she did. Therefore, she was not happy about it. On the contrary, She had to work harder. Although she was recovering her spiritual power and vitality this day, her mind was also constantly spinning, thinking about how to get through this current hurdle. After thinking about it for a day, she decided to refine it. Why did you decide to do this? First of all, these flowers are highly poisonous, and she can't think of a better way than refining them. Secondly, the previous level had tested her spiritual power and vitality. She instinctively felt that this level was to test her poison refining skills. Why not practice her alchemy skills? The reason is very simple. Refining elixirs is easier than refining poisons. Once the poisons are refined, what problems will there be in refining elixirs? This is also the reason why many alchemists are not poison alchemists. It is already difficult for an alchemist to improve. Who would be willing to spend time refining poison? After all, a poison refiner is not as respected as an alchemist. Taking a deep breath, Xianxia took out the stone nest. As soon as the stone nest came out, she exclaimed, "So many top-quality poisons." Xianxia raised her eyebrows. She was sure Xuanhuan knew these poisonous flowers. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 844. Xuanhuan, do you know these poisonous flowers? Xianxia asked. Xuanhuan said excitedly, Master, these are poisonous flowers that are only found in the 9 heavens. Even in the 9 heavens, they are not found everywhere. You have to pay a high price to get one of them. There are so many here I haven't even counted them yet. Master, you've done it? Xianxia was speechless. What are you going to do? Now you are practicing to pass the test, you know? Xuanhuan, this is the journey to the center of the first training place. We have to remove all these poisonous flowers to pass this level and continue walking, Xianxia said to Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan became even more excited when he heard this. Isn't this better? It means that these poisonous flowers belong to the owner. With me here, we can take away all the poisonous flowers. Xianxia really didn't know that Xuanhuan's nature was like this. He used to pretend to be cold and did not speak easily, but now he is better. Why do he think he is a talkative person? Okay, I need Xuanhuan's help anyway. Let's get started, it's been a day's delay. Xuanhuan immediately enlarged his body and said, Master, just put poison in it. The corner of Xianxia's mouth twitched. It was right to poison. Although they were flowers, they were indeed poisonous. She did not argue with Xuanhuan, but directly used her spiritual power to roll up some of the poisonous flowers in order from in front of her, uprooted them and threw them into the stone nest. When she saw that the bottom had not yet been filled, she continued to pull out flowers and throw them in. She did not stop until all the poisonous flowers in front of her were pulled out. Xianxia looked at the poisonous flowers in front of her and realized that this was indeed a test of her poison refining skills. The poisonous flowers all grew in the same place, which made it easier for her to refine one kind of poison at a time without interfering with each other. In this case, she didn't hesitate anymore and just threw the flames to start refining the poisonous flowers in the stone nest. Xuanhuan was very cooperative, but he kept talking, telling Xianxia what kind of poisonous flower it was, what it did, and what its uses were. Xianxia knew that the information Xuanhuan knew should be from her experience in refining poison in her previous life, as if she had lost her knowledge and was now picking it up bit by bit. However, with Xuanhuan, the encyclopedia of poisons, she would not miss the opportunity to study. She would listen carefully and write it down, then put away the refined poison, mark it on it, and take out a notebook at the same time. Record the growth habits, toxicity, and usage of the poison in detail so that it can be easily taught to young apprentices in the future. At this level, Xianxia felt quite comfortable. After all, she was doing what she liked, and time passed quickly. When she saw that there were no poisonous flowers in front of her, she suddenly realized that another day had passed. In Pangu space, there are a lot of medicine bottles containing poison pills, and they are big bottles, not small bottles containing a pill. Looking at the steps extending out in front, I don't know what the next level will be tested on. However, her mental energy and spiritual power were greatly consumed this day, so she decided to regain her strength before continuing. Although Xiwo didn't want to go back and wanted to see if it was needed for the next level, she was sent to the Pangu space by Yan Xiangluo. If she felt free, she could let him extract the poison from those flesh bugs. Give it a cluster of flames from the fire beads and let it control the heat on its own. Without Xiangluo, Xiwo can only refine the fleshy insects into venom, but cannot refine them into pills, but it is happy to use the flames of the fire beads to refine the insects. Yang Xiangluocan just doesn't like seeing so many bugs, they are too annoying, and she really doesn't have time to refine those bugs now. It took about an hour for her mental energy to replenish and her spiritual power to recover. Yan Xiangluo discovered that the time for her to recover her strength was getting shorter and shorter. Although her sea of consciousness was now very strong, even if the mental power consumed yesterday was not restored immediately, it would not affect her at all, but that was only relative to if her powerful sea of consciousness is compared with other monks. The time it takes to recover these mental powers is not measured in days, but will probably be measured in years. But she recovered within an hour. No one would believe her at this speed. There were so many strange things that happened to her that Yan Xiangluo didn't care anymore and continued walking forward. Look carefully around you in front and behind you in case the next level suddenly appears and there is danger. After walking for a while, she finally realized something was wrong. In fact, she had already entered the next level. Because she walked for such a long time without actually walking a step. How did she find out? It was because the trees on both sides had not been changed. They were still the two trees when she started. Even the weeds and wildflowers on both sides of the steps were exactly the same. There is no danger of attack, so what is the assessment? Yan Xiangluo was puzzled. When she first arrived at the foot of the mountain, she clearly sensed a strong aura of spiritual beasts in the mountain. She thought that this road must have been fought all the way. Could it be that her path of experience was different from others? Same. The surrounding scenery has not changed, so the problem is still the steps under our feet. She looked down at the steps under her feet, and then she realized that starting from the steps in front of her, there were faint golden lights flashing on the steps. If she looked carefully, they turned out to be mysterious patterns. Yan Xiangluo was completely speechless. Could this level be a test of her Xuanhuan strength? She looked at the steps spreading out in front of her, and sure enough, there was a faint golden light appearing on them, and they were all mysterious patterns. The mysterious pattern of golden light is the highest among the mysterious patterns. Although there is no fixed grade classification for Xuanhuan masters, the level of Xuanhuan can be seen from the color of the carved Xuanhuan. Ordinary mysterious patterns are just a flash of transparent light, just like spiritual power cannot see colors. The higher the level, the white light can be seen, then the silver light, and then the golden light. The light of each color is also divided into strong and weak. The stronger the strength, the darker the color. Except that Yan Xiangluo had dedicated time to learn Jiyin's Xuanhuan before, she actually didn't have time to upgrade her Xuanhuan level afterwards. However, she was very talented in Xuanhuan, coupled with the level of Jiyin's Xuanhuan technique. So after she finished learning Ji Seal, her Xuanhuan level was at the silver level. However, when she first entered this level, the color was not obvious and it was not easy to see the silver. Up to now, although the level has improved a lot, it has not reached the gold level. Does this mean she wants her to upgrade her Xuanhuan level to gold? She was helpless. She was training, so how could she have so much time to improve her level? If the Xuanhuan level is upgraded to the gold level, there is no need to enter the central place. Even if 1 month is up, she may not be able to upgrade to the gold level. How to talk about breaking through the last hurdle of Pangu flower blooming. If you can't break through the third level of Pangu flower blooming in the first land of training, how long will it take to break through when you return to Xuanhuan continent? Can the most important thing be broken through? The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 845. Xianxia was worried, but there was no good solution at the moment. She knew in her heart that the situation was in front of her and she could only accept her fate. Taking a long breath, things are already like this. There is no use in getting entangled and upset. It is better to use the existing time to improve the strength that can be improved. Even if there is no chance to break through the third level of Pangu flower blooming, we must make the most of the time we have entered, so it is better to increase the level of the mysterious pattern with peace of mind than to gain nothing at all. After figuring it out, Xianxia began to study the mysterious patterns on the steps. She needed to break the mysterious patterns on the steps before she could move forward. I don't know how many mysterious patterns there are. After studying it carefully for a while, she discovered that the first mysterious pattern was carved on 3 steps. She squatted down and carefully studied the golden grade mysterious pattern. Studying the mysterious patterns requires the use of mental power to see the pictures and texts of the mysterious patterns, and then study the pictures and texts to find a solution. He thought to himself, I wonder if Xuanhuan has also found a way, and whether he will also have to go through the Xuanhuan test. In the real test, with his Xuanhuan strength, I am afraid it will be easy to pass this test. Had she known that there would be such an assessment, no matter how busy she was before, she still had to learn the mysterious patterns from Xuanhuan. The mysterious pattern carved on Xuanhuan's pattern is golden light. Xuanhuan squatted on her shoulders and looked at the familiar mysterious patterns on the steps, and sighed secretly. The master made the right decision to enter the first training place. This is simply a training ground prepared for the master to regain his skills. It is somewhat looking forward to what is waiting for the master in the central place, and even more looking forward to how the master will improve his cultivation like a monster if he breaks through the third level of the Pangu flower blooming technique. Xuanhuan is not worried at all that Xianxia can't crack these mysterious patterns. Although he can't do it now, he will soon find a way to retrieve the things in his soul. Sure enough, after studying for about a quarter of an hour, Xianxia cracked the mysterious patterns on the 3 steps. Xianxia was a little confused. Could it be that her previous Xuanhuan level had reached the peak of transcending levels, so it took only a quarter of an hour to reach the gold level? Although she was confused, this was a good thing. At least she didn't worry that she wouldn't have time to go to the central place. Xianxia is immersed in deciphering the mysterious patterns. On this road, many people are busy. If you look closely, you can find that their experience methods are different, but without exception, they are all tested on their own abilities. On this road, their abilities are like being exposed to the sun, there is no secret at all. Xuanhuan was also going through the test. He had already passed the Xuanhuan test before. As Xianxia thought, that test was not that difficult for him, but it was also rewarding, allowing him to truly understand the mystery of Jiyin. The test he is going through now is weapon refining. Xuanhuan actually didn't have much time to refine weapons after arriving in the higher continent, so the weapon refinement level was not improved much. This time was an opportunity. Compared to the methodical experience of those who entered the first place of training in the spiritual world, the situation in the demon world has already become a disaster. Every high continent has a demon entering it, and the demon cultivators who have experienced it are in dire straits. Anyone who reacts slowly or discovers it late will mess up the demon's path. In the least case, they will be injured, and in the worst case, they will lose their lives. After Xianxia entered the first training place, she was complacent at first, thinking that she was the reincarnation of the devil. As long as she got the power left by the devil in the first training place, she would be invincible. But when she met other demons, she realized that she was just one of the demon's reincarnations. Their purpose was to get the power that the demon left in the first training place, and whoever could get it would win. Will be a real demon. As long as one demon gets the power from the first training ground, the other demons will disappear, and the power will return to the body of the demon who got the power, which is the real demon body. Therefore, when a demon encounters a demon on the road, he will fight tooth and nail. One less demon means one less competitor. If Xianxia hadn't played a dirty trick just now, she would definitely have died in the opponent's hands. Xianxia suddenly felt a sense of crisis, because she discovered that among the demons she encountered, she was not the strongest, and could even be said to be the weakest. Could it be that giving her hope was to let her give power to the real demon? She was unwilling to give in. Therefore, she is different from other demons in that she does not care about the demon cultivator. She hides all the way to avoid the demon cultivator and at the same time avoids other demons and rushes to the center where the magic power is sealed. I pray in my heart that I can arrive before other demons, so that even if I am the weakest, as long as I get the demon's power, I can absorb the power of other demons and become a real demon. Xianxia's decision was still correct. The journey went smoothly and she was traveling very fast. When she saw the distant mountain peaks looming in the clouds and mist, she was extremely happy. At this time, it is no longer possible to avoid everyone, and many demon cultivators are also rushing to the central place. The demons who have arrived here have also kept a low profile, no longer going against the demon cultivators, and no longer taking action against each other. That way you can make wedding clothes for others. After being happy, Xianxia saw that there were already many demons in front of her. Her heart sank and she immediately hurried on with all her heart. The central land is divided into two parts, one is in the spiritual world and the other is in the demon world. Everyone knows this, but no one knows that the central land is one. It is also the only place in the first training ground where the two demon spirits are connected. 3 days later, Xianxia cracked all the mysterious patterns. The mental power consumed in 3 days was not a small amount, but it was only half. Although it did not make her uncomfortable, she had to restore her mental power out of habit. Sit down on the steps and start to restore your mental strength while absorbing spiritual energy. These days, apart from being unable to absorb spiritual energy during actual battles, she has never stopped absorbing spiritual energy. You know, she needs a lot of spiritual power to break through the 3rd level. This time it took her a day to regain her mental strength. After opening her eyes, she calculated that she had been in for half a month, which meant that it was still half a month until it was time to go out. Xianxia stood up and glanced at the steps in front. She hadn't reached the center yet, and each level would consume more time. She didn't know what tests were waiting for her ahead, so she could only make sure not to waste any time. She continued to walk forward, and then felt what the next test would be. She has many abilities, shouldn't she have to test them all? While she was thinking, several people appeared on the steps in front of her, coming in the opposite direction from her, coming from top to bottom. Xianxia was stunned. What is going on? Could it be that they all failed and could not go to the central place without passing the test and could only go back? Xianxia saw the person who was about to come to her and wanted to stop him to ask, but suddenly a light flashed in his mind. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 846. No, she was on the way to the center, and she was practicing alone. She couldn't meet other people. Why was there someone in front of her? Xianxia quickly retracted her outstretched hand, and then saw the person she was trying to stop walking past her. She turned her head and looked, but there was no one on the steps behind her. Hairs on my hair immediately stood up. There was clearly a person passing by, but why was there no one walking down behind me? If what just passed was a soul body, she should be able to sense it. After all, she is a heavenly master. She turned back suddenly and looked at the person walking in front of her. It was really a person. This time she stared at him carefully and saw him disappear after walking past her. Xianxia was stunned and immediately understood that these people were her test for this level, but she hadn't figured out what they were testing yet. Xianxia stood on the steps, watching people keep walking past her and disappearing. After a long time, she suddenly realized that she finally understood what this level was going to test her for. In fact, it is not a test, it should be said to be an experience, to test her celestial master strength. How can I tell that she wants to practice her celestial master strength? Once you figure it out, it's actually very simple. Because she used the power of soul control to see that the soul bodies of everyone who came over were numb, but the soul bodies had the light of destiny, and everyone was different. That's why she determined that this level was to experience and improve her celestial master strength. Xianxia was immediately excited. After she learned the soul-controlling power technique from the Long family, her level as a heavenly master continued to improve. However, she did not have much time to learn, so the Long family's soul-controlling power technique she never finished learning the law. Xianxia felt that the road into the center seemed to be specially set up for her. She was forced to learn all kinds of skills that she did not have time to learn in the shortest possible time. This is a good thing. After all, even if she had time to study in Xuanhuan continent, she would not be so efficient. Xianxia immediately mobilized the Long family's soul-controlling technique, and then looked at the people walking by her, constantly using the power of soul controlling to see their fortunes, and looking at those who didn't understand or understand. Then learn the soul control technique. Since she realized it and started to experience the strength of the heavenly master, those people have been walking very slowly. Unless she has finished reading a person's destiny, that person will disappear. Time passed little by little, and Xianxia finally learned all the Long family's soul-controlling techniques. But the people walking down the steps are still there, which means she hasn't passed this level yet. What's left to do? Xianxia continued to show the fortunes of these people. Now she was able to skillfully see through all the fortunes and experiences of the other people in this life at a glance. It can be said that these people have no secrets in front of her now. Her eyes lit up. Could it be that the ultimate test of this level was whether she could see through a person's past, present, and future lives? With this thought in mind, she did so. Xianxia began to try to see if she could see through this person's past life. Compared with looking at a person's past life and future life, it is easier to see the past life, so she chooses the easy one first, and can see the past life before looking at the future life. It took her 2 days to finally see through the past life of the person who passed by, and she could even see through the person's first 3 lives, so she began to try to see the future life of the person who passed by. But it also depends on what the other person's destiny is like. Some people's destiny can be easily seen through 3 lives, but some people require a lot of soul power to see through. It was much more difficult to see through a person's future life. It took her 3 days to see a person's future life, and she could only see one future life. But this level has not been passed yet. Xianxia wondered if it was because she could only see one life in the future. Sure enough, when she could clearly see a person's last 3 lives, all the people walking down the front steps disappeared. Xianxia looked at the empty steps. She knew very well that these people actually existed. How did they appear on the steps? Why do they all seem to be possessed? What Xianxia didn't know was that many people walking on the road to the center felt as if they had walked in a daze for a while, and they couldn't figure out what was going on after thinking about it. In the end, it was regarded as a level of experience on this road. Xianxia thought about her abilities, and it seemed that the only skills she knew were formations and mind-reading skills that she had not yet practiced. Will the next level be an experience to improve her formation level or a mind-reading skill? Xianxia stepped out without hesitation, and she felt the breath of the formation in a moment. It seemed that she was practicing the formation first. Xianxia sighed helplessly. Is this trying to cultivate her into an all-around genius? To be honest, after learning so many samples, she never expected to become proficient in them all. There is still a priority. She just thinks that if she learns more of one thing, it will be good if she understands it, and she will have more protection when she encounters danger. Now that she is fine, she feels that when she leaves here, she will definitely be envious and jealous even herself. However, this level is not so easy. The formations are changing rapidly, and the dangers are real. They are different from the previous skills. Xianxia finally understands that this level is not just about improving her formation skills, and also wanted to improve her combat effectiveness. She had experienced the powerful aura of spiritual beasts deep in the mountains before at the foot of the mountain, and now she had experienced it personally. While fighting powerful spiritual beasts, he also has to figure out how to break the formation. Only by defeating the spirit beast and breaking the formation can you enter the next formation. The next formation is to fight another more powerful spiritual beast to break the higher level formation. Xianxia didn't know how long her spiritual power would be able to last, but she had only broken 3 formations, and half of her spiritual power had been consumed. When she failed to pass this level, she had no time to stop and recover her spiritual power, nor could she watch it being exhausted. So Xianxia's 3-purpose focus is now in effect. While fighting the spiritual beasts, she is thinking about how to break the formation, and she also absorbs spiritual energy to replenish the consumed spiritual power. No one person can do this. Even Ji Zhang, who learned to do 2 things like her, can only do 2 things but not 3 things. At this time, Xianxia sighed again. This level is really killing 3 birds with 1 stone. This not only improves her formation skills, but also improves her combat effectiveness. It also trains her how to absorb spiritual energy to replenish spiritual power during battle. Look, it was a little awkward at first, but now she is able to absorb the spiritual energy and convert it into spiritual power, and output the spiritual energy to fight the spiritual beasts, and at the same time, she can break the formation. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 847. One formation after another was broken, 3 days passed, and Xianxia calculated the time. 23 days have passed since I came in, which means there are only 7 days left to practice in the first training place. But she hasn't reached the center yet, and she doesn't know if there will be any other tests after passing this level. If there was any more, she felt that her hope of reaching the center was slim. Just when she was worried that there was not enough time, she killed the spiritual beasts in the formation, and then quickly broke the formation. At the same time, all the breath of the formation disappeared, and Xianxia felt happy that she finally came out of this level. She couldn't even count how many spiritual beasts she had killed and how many formations she had broken, but one thing she knew very well was that the level of every formation she broke was not lower than the level of the gentleman's formation she broke. At this time, she was in a very embarrassed state, her hair was messy, and she was dirty. She could smell the blood on her body. She looked up, expecting to see the familiar steps again and enter the mind-reading experience. But there was an open field in front of her. There were many people in the field, and there were people around her who were as embarrassed as she was, but the people in the field were in a better condition. After Xianxia was stunned for a moment, she finally understood that she had passed the road to the center. Those in better condition arrived earlier and had already tidied themselves up. The person who was in the same embarrassment as her had just arrived. She couldn't go into the space to tidy up with so many people. Yan Xianglou quickly tidied herself up briefly, changed into a skirt, cleaned up her hair and combed it again. She just wanted to see if this was a central place. At this moment, a person not far from her who had just come up like her couldn't wait to ask Yan Xianglou her doubts. The man asked the person in front of him, "Is this the center of the place?" The man glanced at him and said, "I don't know." "Have no idea?" Yan Xianglou frowned. There were so many people here, but they didn't know if this was the center? Yan Xianglou let go of her consciousness and sensed the large venue, but she sensed nothing except the breath of the people present. Yan Xianglou looked up at the sky and realized that they were at the highest point of the mountain. There was not even a trace of cloud in the blue sky. Looking down, she saw a rolling sea of clouds. If the situation was not different at this time, she would really appreciate this beautiful sea of clouds. Frowning his brows, he then remembered that the road to the center ended like this. "Why haven't you practiced mind reading?" Yan Xianglou sensed Zhizhou Hong's aura. If he didn't sense it, was it because he hadn't experienced it yet, or was there another similar place? There is nothing normal here, and Yan Xianglou no longer dares to think in a normal way. She walked inside, using her spiritual sense to check if any of their people were coming. However, after walking around for a long time, she did not find any of their people. Instead, she saw a few people from Xuanhuan continent, but I didn't recognize them, so I didn't say hello. Withdrawing her consciousness, she began to wonder, what kind of place is this place? Is it another assessment place, or is it the center? There is a big gap in the cultivation level of people here, but most of them are above the level. There are also people with holy level cultivation, but most of them are at the 8th or 9th level of the holy level, and very few are at the 6th or 7th level. She is the only person like her who has broken through to the holy level. Yan Xianglou thought about her mind-reading ability, which had not been noticed by Tiandao. She had not yet experienced it, so there was no good way to do it at this time. The cultivation level of these people was just right for her to practice mind reading, so she could not miss any opportunity to improve her ability. She had already tried it before, and she could hear the voices of people with a level above the level, so she had no intention of practicing with people with a level below the level or a saint level, and would directly go to someone with a level to practice. Therefore, she walked specifically to people who were above the level. As soon as she used her mind-reading skills, a noise suddenly came to Yan Xianglou's ears. It was more noisy than the big market and almost knocked her out. She quickly gave up reading her mind and her voice disappeared. After trying it a few times, she realized that her ability to read minds had actually improved, to the point where she was speechless. In the past, she could only listen to one person's voice with concentration. Now, as long as she is not focused on anyone, she can hear the voices of everyone present. After trying it a few times, she knew how to control it. As long as she thought about whose voice to listen to, other voices would automatically disappear. If she didn't think so, she could hear everyone's voice. Knowing that she could choose someone to read her mind at will, she planned to find someone with the highest level of cultivation to try it. She took a look and found that the ones with the highest cultivation level present were those with the 6th level of God. There were more than a dozen people in total. She ran towards the person closest to her. You can hear each other's thoughts as soon as you walk by. How on earth can we enter the center? This is the voice of a monk who has reached the 6th level of divine cultivation. Yan Xianglou immediately slowed down. Listening to what this person meant, this was actually the entrance to the central place, but you needed an opportunity to get in. This man should know something. She wanted to hear more, so she stopped near him, but with her back to him, as if she was observing the people around her. It's not wrong, it's right here. I've searched around for several times, but I still can't see the entrance. Isn't it that the entrance is hidden by the formation? I can't sense the breath of the formation. The man's inner activities continued, and he didn't realize that his inner voice was being heard by Yu Xiangluo. Yan Xiangluo's eyes lit up. The entrance was here, but it was hidden by the formation. Then the level of this formation should be the ancient formation level, otherwise the man would not be so worried. She really didn't expect that she would hear such important information by choosing a person to try her mind-reading skills. 9 turns in the sky, suddenly encountered thunder and wind, stepped into the golden plate, and met the mortal world again. The man recited these words repeatedly in his heart. Yan Xiangluo was stunned. Could these words be a hint to find the entrance to the central place? She continued to listen to the man's voice. What do these 4 mantras mean? What do they have to do with the formation? The man muttered after reciting it several times. Yan Xiangluo is sure this time. These 4 sentences are indeed reminders, and they are related to the formation that hides the entrance. Yan Xiangluo listened for a while, but didn't hear any more useful information. She continued to walk forward and came to another person who had reached the 6th level of cultivation. After hearing his voice, Yan Xiangluo was surprised. Not only the previous person knew the 4 words about feelings, but this person also knew it and was thinking about it. Do many people know this sentence? How do they know it? The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 848. Yan Xiangluo listened to the voices of a dozen other 6th-level cultivators of the Supreme God one after another, and made sure that they all knew these 4 formulas. Do other people who practice cultivation know? Yan Xiangluo began to select people according to their cultivation level from high to low, listening to their opinions. She did not choose people at random, they were all people who were around those who had reached the 6th level of God. Because she found that the people with the 6th level of divine cultivation were not far away from each other and were all in the center of the venue. They probably felt that the entrance should be in the middle. Hence, other people who know will think so too. Yan Xiangluo listened to the voices of many people one after another, and she discovered that only people with a higher level of cultivation knew the news, and no one with a lower level than a higher level knew about it. Then it's normal for someone like her, who is not even a God-level practitioner, not to know. It should be some kind of setting in the central place. Maybe the entrance can only be opened by people with their level of cultivation, so they can know about it. After Yan Xiangluo listened to a large circle of thoughts, she stopped listening when she found no useful information, and concentrated on studying these 4 formulas. 9 turns in the sky, suddenly encountered thunder and wind, stepped into the golden plate, and met the mortal world again. She read it over and over in her mind. After reading for a while and having no idea, she suddenly thought that she had complicated these 4 sentences. In fact, they just meant what they meant on the surface. The literal meaning of this sentence is that it takes 9 turns to reach the top of the clouds. But the fact is that they are already above the clouds. There are no clouds above, and the clouds are halfway up the mountain. Yan Xiangluo looked up at the sky. The blue sky was as clean as if it had been washed by water. There were no clouds at all, let alone the sky. 9 rotations in the sky, 9 rotations. What place needs 9 rotations to go to? What is the 9 rotations method? Could it be that the place we are going to is similar to Xianxia? Or does it take 9 turns to reach the sky to reach that place? Suddenly encountering thunder and wind. Do you think that after going to this place for 9 turns, you will suddenly encounter thunder and wind? What kind of thunder and wind are they? She didn't see thunder and wind here and there either. Even the spiritual consciousness cannot detect any breath. Step into a gold plate, and after going through 9 turns and encountering thunder and wind, you will step into a gold plate. Whether this gold plate is an object or a place is hard to say. Meet the mortal world again. What does this sentence mean? Is the place where mortals live? After all, the place they are in now is not a place that mortals can come to. Even monks are not a place that everyone has the opportunity to reach. But what's the point of them going to the place where mortals stay? I have thought over and over again the meaning of the 4 sentences, but I have no inspiration. Suddenly, Yan Xiangluo's eyes lit up. Since everyone they knew said that these 4 formulas were related to the formation, these 4 formulas were either the method to crack the formation that hides the entrance or the hint to find the formation. You can't go wrong if you think about it in these 2 directions. Yan Xiangluo's heart suddenly became enlightened. She was no longer in a hurry to study these 4 sentences, but carefully observed the surrounding environment to see where it was most likely the entrance to the central place. This is a spacious place, very flat, as if the mountain peaks have been flattened. Above is the blue sky, and below is the main body of the towering mountain. Don't go on, even if you can fly in the air, you don't dare to try to jump. After all, everything here is weird, and you won't be able to hit the ground if you jump. So how could such a peaceful place turn around? In the 9-turn sky, the only place with clouds here is halfway up the mountain. Yan Xiangluo thought, is it possible that the entrance to this central place is not in the middle where they think it is? Yan Xiangluo walked out from the center and walked to the edge of the venue. Looking down, she saw the sea of clouds halfway up the mountain, stretching into the distance. It was beautiful, but it also made people feel like there was a bottomless pit under the clouds. Feel. On Yungxiao, is the entrance really not on this platform, but below, where Yungxiao is? Yan Xiangluo's idea was very bold, but as soon as the idea came up, it was out of control. The more I think about it, the more possible it becomes. She squatted down and tried her best to look down. The small paws of the cloud lying on her shoulder were holding her collar tightly, fearing that she would fall. The mountain peaks are uneven, with short plants growing on them. The protruding stones and sunken mountains are no different from ordinary mountain cliffs. Suddenly her eyes lit up. Does 9 turns to the sky mean that you need to turn 9 times from the cliff to reach the place where the clouds are, that is, where you encounter thunder and wind? Almond eyes flashed suddenly. It takes a lot of courage to know whether you should try it yourself. Even if you succeed, you will still have to experience thunder and wind. I don't know what kind of thunder and wind it will be like, and whether you can get through it alive. If you fail, you will only die. But time waits for no one, there are only 7 days left, waiting here is not an option, even if you come here, you will not be able to enter the central place. Her cultivation is the lowest, and those who have cultivation above the 6th level of God are, no one dares to use their strength to find an entrance, let alone her strength. So, all we have to do is use our brains. At this point, she didn't see any cultivation restrictions on entering the central place. In fact, everyone present was shocked when they saw Yan Xiangluo. Her appearance was just one of the things that shocked them. The most important thing was that they were shocked by how a person who had just broken through to the holy level could go through so many levels to get here. The most important thing is the spiritual pet on her shoulder. None of their spiritual pets can be summoned from the spiritual pet space. How can her spiritual pet stay outside? Moreover, they did not sense any spiritual fluctuations in her spiritual pet. It felt like a pure pet, not even a spiritual pet. In addition, Yan Xiangluo's red dress is so conspicuous here that it is impossible not to notice it. They were all paying attention to her as though they were absent. Although several people in Xuanhuan continent did not know her before, they knew her and had met her before entering the first training place. Although she did not know them, they knew her. Fall. Seeing that she was not with Jizhong and that everyone here was paying attention to her, they all came to her vicinity. If anything happened, they could help immediately. Not because Jizhong brought them in, but because they were all from Xuanhuan continent and they had to unite and help each other. Yan Xiangluo naturally sensed the actions of the people from Xuanhuan continent, and felt a little relieved. The people who came in this time would be more united and in a higher mood after they left. It seems that their original intention of bringing these people in was not only good. There are even greater gains to be realized. She glanced down and decided to give it a try. Since they were protecting her, she should tell them. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 849. Xianxia stood up, looked at the people in Xuanhuan continent, chose the nearest man and said to him, the entrance to the central place is hidden by the formation. People who have cultivated above the gods know that for a formula, 9 turns in the sky, you suddenly encounter thunder and wind, step into the golden plate, and meet the mortal world again. It should be related to breaking the formation or opening the entrance. I want to go down and take a look. You can study these 4 formulas. The person who heard her message was stunned, and then sent the message to her, Miracle Doctor, think twice before you act. We don't know what's happening next. It's too dangerous. We have tried throwing an object before, but we didn't feel anything. Disappeared. After hearing what he said, Xianxia smiled, what are we here for? Her rhetorical question made the man stunned for a moment, and he immediately understood what she meant. He looked at the boundless sea of clouds, and then felt the bottom of the bottomless sea of clouds. Although he knew what they were here for, making a decision was not something ordinary people could do. At this time, they understood in their hearts that it was no wonder that the unmarried couple had such high achievements at such a young age. Talent was only one of them. The main thing was that they were courageous and dared to break through themselves. Anyway, he didn't have the courage to be the first one to jump. Be careful, Dr. Sunday. I will tell them the information you told me immediately. The man no longer advised Sun Xiang to do anything. Although he is young, he has a plan in mind. Xianxia nodded and looked down. Although she had decided to go down, she had not yet decided where to go. The site is roughly circular, with a large area and is surrounded by mountains. Xianxia walked around the edge and didn't see any difference. The almond-shaped eyes flashed rapidly. Since the surroundings were the same, it should be the same no matter where you go. Xianxia did not hesitate and said to Xuanhuan on her shoulder, I'm going down. Do you want to stay outside or go in? Xuanhuan knew where she wanted to go. Xuanhuan shook his head and said, Master, just go down. Don't worry about me. I will stay with you outside. Xianxia didn't say anything after hearing this. Xuanhuan is a mythical beast after all. The environment she is afraid of is not necessarily afraid of Xuanhuan. Besides, Xuanhuan knows a lot of things that she doesn't know. When she stays outside, if Xuanhuan can remind her, the group will remind you. No matter what happens, when her life is in danger, Xuanhuan can come to her rescue. She took a deep breath. She was not afraid, but fear was useless. She would stop here if she didn't break through. Ready, Xianxia jumped down, shocking everyone around her to scream. Someone jumped. That's the beautiful woman in the red dress. Oh my God, is she going to die? She discovered something, right? What can she discover with her saint-level cultivation? In an instant, a large group of people rushed over. Especially those who have reached the level of gods, they know very well that only those who have reached the level of gods have received some prompt messages. Although Xianxia's beauty is very eye-catching among these people, her cultivation level has just broken through to the holy level. It is an undisputed fact that she is the weakest among them. To be honest, no one believes that she can find anything. But don't delay these people to watch the fun. Just when Xianxia jumped down, the people near her were the first to run to the edge and stretched their heads to look down. Except for seeing the fiery red figure jumping down, there was nothing more to be seen. Where is the person? Why is he missing? It's not because flight is restricted here, so she fell directly under the clouds, right? When those people with God-level cultivation rushed over, Something flashed through their minds when they heard those people say that Yanxiangluo fell below the clouds. 9 turns in the sky, is this what it means? In the blink of an eye, all the people with God-level cultivation came to the place where Yanxiangluo jumped. They let go of their consciousness and sensed what was below, but they sensed nothing. At this moment, Zhizhong also came here. At first I was stunned, and then I found many people gathered around one place looking down, and they walked over without caring about cleaning up their embarrassment. The people in Xuanhuan continent came to him immediately when they saw Zhizhong and told him the situation, including the 4 formulas that Yanxiangluo told them. 9 turns in the sky, suddenly encounter thunder and wind, step into the golden plate, and meet the mortal world again? Zhizhong recited these 4 mantras in his mind, and suddenly understood why Luo jumped. She must have found nothing above, so she decided to go down and take a look. Zhizhong squeezed forward. Seeing his embarrassment, everyone got out of the way. Zhizhong easily reached the front. He glanced down and jumped down without hesitation. Such a happy decision and action caused everyone to let out another loud exclamation. When Yanxiangluo jumped down before, those who were at the level did not see it with their own eyes, but now that Zhizhong jumped down, they watched it with a good eye. The person jumped and disappeared before reaching the clouds. Although Zhizhong's cultivation level has not yet reached the level of a god, he is still at the peak of a demigod, and is only 1 step away from being a god. This level of cultivation, coupled with his age, makes him a true super genius. The people with god-level cultivation glanced at each other, obviously doubting whether the woman in the red dress in front of them had really discovered something, but they did not believe that a super genius like Zhizhong would act recklessly. Should they also jump in and give it a try? The people in Xuanhuan continent jumped down without hesitation when they saw Zhizhong and looked at each other. Neither of these unmarried couples are simple people, and they will not die for no reason. Especially the image of Zhizhong in their hearts is one of superiority. After all, he is the current human emperor of Xuanhuan continent. They know very well how powerful the Ji family's Xuanhuan technique is. Even if they didn't believe in Yanxiangluo before, they now believed in Zhizhong's judgment. They also made a decision in an instant. Now that they have arrived at the entrance to the central place, even if they leave here alive without a fight, they will leave a knot in their hearts, which will affect their future cultivation realm. People dare to try it at such a young age, so what do they, who are in their 30s and 40s, have to fear? Therefore, without communicating with each other, they all made a unified decision to jump in and try their luck. However, before they jumped, they also rationally took stock of the magic weapons that could save their lives. Which ones should be used under any circumstances? At least they would protect themselves with their current strength. If they still died here, it would be their fate. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 850. After getting ready, they jumped down one by one at the place where Yanxiangluo and Zhizhong jumped. Except for Yanxiangluo and Zhizhong, 16 people from Xuanhuan continent came here. Including Yanxiangluo and Zhizhong, 18 people jumped down. They didn't care much if they jumped 1 or 2, and would have doubts and hesitations in their hearts. However, so many people jumped in succession, and the hearts of everyone present were alive. After all, they didn't know that the people who jumped were all people from the Ninefold continent, and they didn't know that they jumped because of their confidence in the Ji family and the human emperor from their bones and souls. Especially those who are at the level, fearing that they will be overtaken by a group of people whose cultivation is not as good as theirs, some people jump immediately. When someone takes the lead, the people behind can't wait any longer. Those with low cultivation level and those with high cultivation level all go down. Those of them who are in the middle of the cultivation level have nothing to hesitate about. If you don't go down, this trip will end here. Anyone who arrives at the entrance to the central place will not be content with not entering. So there were fewer and fewer people on the field, and they all crowded to the place where Yan Xianglou jumped, and jumped down. If Yan Xianglou knew that everyone came down from the place where she jumped, she would definitely be speechless. She didn't jump down from here after discovering something here, but after looking around and seeing no difference, she got down from here. There is really no need for them all to come down from here. All those who jumped down were thankful that they followed down, otherwise they would really have missed the opportunity to enter the central place. In fact, even if they did not finally enter the central land, they have gained a lot from the experience along the way. Without exception, they have improved their cultivation level, and the improvement has been quite a lot, even after they have practiced in their respective continents for more than 10 or 20 years. It is a height that no one can reach, and some people cannot reach a height in their lifetime. From the moment they saw the peaks of the central land, they were already in the central land. However, not everyone could enter the center of the central land. Even if you jump down, there are so many roads below. If you choose the wrong one, you will still miss the most central place. However, even if they have no luck and dare to jump down, their state of mind will be different, which is also a gain. This is also the main reason why people's cultivation and state of mind improve so much after entering the central place. It is a real experience of human limits. After Yan Xianglou jumped down, her body was supported by a force, and she was surrounded by clouds and mist. Then she saw that the clouds and mist came out in many ways, and it was obvious that only one way was correct. Which way to go? Thinking of those 4 sentences, Yan Xianglou did not leave in a hurry, but pondered over the 2 words Xuanhuan. 9 turns in the sky. What is the method of turning this 9 turns? How to turn it to the sky? She saw clearly when she jumped down that she was dragged down by the force before she reached the clouds. If she went to the clouds above the clouds, she would have to go down. She used her spiritual sense to check the conditions of several roads, and felt that there was no difference. It was difficult to choose. At this time, she discovered that the clouds under her feet were getting softer, which meant that the force holding her up was getting weaker. She was heartbroken and had to make a decision before her strength could completely support her. In other words, after she jumped down, there was no more time to make a decision. The thoughts in her mind lasted only a moment, and the clouds under her feet softened a bit. Yan Xianglou squinted her eyes. She chose the path on the mountainous road with her eyes closed. Since there is no good way now, let's take a look. Is this trick easy to use? Then she closed her eyes and thought about the roads again. Sure enough, there was only one road left. She simply didn't open her eyes, and boldly took a step towards that road. Sure enough, the clouds under her feet became solid again. After she walked into that road, because she still had her eyes closed, she immediately saw what was ahead. The road takes a big turn. Yu Xianglou was speechless. Could this be what Xuanhuan meant? Although she had many ideas, her movements were not slow at all. There was nothing she could do about it. Whenever she stopped, the clouds under her feet would soften, forcing her to move forward quickly. Soon she came to the first turning point. Just as she turned around, a ball of light about the same size as her height rushed towards her. Before she could react, the ball of light rushed directly into her dantian. She was stunned. Stunned, I wanted to check what the light group was, but there was nothing in my dantian. Looking at the golden silkworm cocoon, could it be that the light ball has entered the nascent soul? However, the Yuanying is still in an unawakened state. She cannot sense the condition of the Yuanying, but she does not feel any physical discomfort. Is this light group a good thing? Feeling her body sinking, Yan Xianglou quickly continued walking down. This time when she came to the second turning, she was more careful. There was still a ball of light rushing into her dantian. After entering, there is no trace. She didn't feel any discomfort. In this case, Yan Xianglou became cautious and sped up to the next corner. Yes, She uses running. There is a time limit here. There should be a light group waiting for her at every turn. This is not a test, but a reward for her choosing the right path. Not just for her, but for everyone. Yan Xianglue was right. Everyone who chose the right path received a ball of light at every turn. However, what she didn't know was that the size of everyone's ball of light was different. Most of them were about the size of a palm. Because they were all above the level, they could clearly sense that it was a force that directly entered the nascent soul body in their danshan. Yan Xianglue was unable to sense that power because Yuan Ying was still in an unawakened state. After 9 turns, Yan Xianglue harvested 9 large light groups with the same diameter as her height, and the road behind her disappeared. The surrounding area was still completely white, but the crackling thunder above her head told her that the thunder and wind in the phrase suddenly encountering thunder and wind were coming. Just as this thought passed, an extremely strong wind blew in her face. If she hadn't been prepared, she would have used her spiritual power to stabilize herself, and she would have been blown away by the wind. I'm afraid this trip would be over. Just when she stabilized her body, a bolt of lightning struck down from above her head and came directly towards her. She wanted to move away but found that she couldn't move. She looked up in horror at the one that was thicker than her body. Ray came straight towards her. This is to take this thunder abruptly. She heard that she would have to experience a thunderstorm when she finally ascended, but she was only at the saint level. Is it certain that such a thick thunder wouldn't kill her in one blow?